The first encounter, it began without warning. One moment, Earth was thriving, and the next, it was gripped by terror. A wave of dread swept across the world as an alien ship appeared in the sky, its presence overwhelming, towering, dark, and impossibly advanced. It cast a long shadow over every city it hovered above. People stared in awe and fear as the enormous vessel seemed to draw all light into its abyss. Lena stood in the command center watching the alien ship's descent, her heart pounding in her chest. "They're not here to talk," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Her mind raced with the horrifying realization humanity wasn't ready for this. Not like this. The alien ship's hull shimmered with an energy beyond anything Earth had ever known. The first strike came without warning, a beam that struck the planet with the force of 1,000 bombs. The sky split open, and Earth trembled, rising to the challenge. The initial shockwave knocked everyone off their feet. Lena could barely comprehend what was happening. Yet, in the chaos, humanity's survival instinct kicked in. Scientists scrambled to analyze the alien weaponry while engineers repurposed Earth's most basic technologies to defend themselves. Humans, pushed into the depths of uncertainty, rose to the challenge. They used what they had: makeshift EMPs, experimental drones, and the sheer tenacity of their will to fight back. "We have to fight," Lena shouted to her team as they gathered in the war room. Their eyes were wide with fear, but in them burned the same fire she felt. "We can't let them win. We adapt, or we die." The first alien assault had been overwhelming, but humanity's response was born of a deeper strength, a creativity, a refusal to accept defeat. In the face of the impossible, they began to turn the tide. Emotional bonds in battle. As the battles raged, something deeper began to form. Amid the destruction and the violence, humanity's emotional bonds were tested like never before. Lena and her closest allies, each facing the brutal realities of war, found their relationships strained but strengthened in ways they hadn't anticipated. Old friendships, now forged in fire, grew stronger with every moment of shared hardship. Lena's comrade, Captain Tobias, had always been the calm in their storm, the one who could organize and lead in the heat of battle. But now, with their backs against the wall, Lena saw a different side of him, a side that questioned their choices. "How much longer can we keep this up?" he asked one night, his voice raw. "We fight until we can't fight anymore," Lena replied, her eyes burning with determination. Their connection was more than just survival. It was the foundation on which humanity's future would be built. Through the chaos, they stood together. As the dust settled and humanity began to regroup, the alien species revealed themselves more fully, towering, ethereal beings with sleek metallic skin and glowing eyes. They were a sharp contrast to humanity's more rugged, emotional presence. The gap between their advanced technology and Earth's meager defense systems was glaring. At first, communication was impossible. Their language was untranslatable, their behavior inscrutable. What did they want? What did they expect from Earth? The tension was palpable, each interaction charged with the fear of misinterpretation. Lena, standing face to face with one of the alien leaders, felt the weight of the moment. The alien's eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to pierce her. She swallowed hard, understanding the importance of this moment. "We need to understand each other," she said, her voice steady. "We need to find common ground. Misunderstandings and cooperation." But common ground was difficult to find. The aliens were not kind in their gestures, nor were they forthcoming with answers. Tensions ran high, and humanity's desperation made them question the aliens' motives. Were they allies, or were they the next enemy to face? Then a breakthrough. A mistake in communication led to an accidental act of cooperation when an alien technology malfunctioned, and a group of humans stepped forward to repair it. Through a mix of human ingenuity and alien assistance, they were able to fix the device. This moment sparked a tentative truce. As mistrust remained high, cooperation became the only way forward. Through pain and failure, humanity and the aliens began to see what was possible when they worked together. Technological wonders and dangers. The aliens, though difficult to understand, offered humanity access to technologies that could change the course of their future. Advanced medical systems, weapons that seemed to manipulate reality itself, and starships capable of travel across galaxies. These were the things humanity now had in their grasp. Yet, with these gifts came danger. Humans were quick to realize that the aliens' technology was not without its consequences. It could be used to heal or destroy, to explore or conquer. In the wrong hands, it could undo everything humanity had fought for. Lena and her team debated the ethics of using these alien advancements. Do we take the technology? Tobias asked one night, his face grim, or do we destroy it before it destroys us? The decision weighed heavily on them all, but Lena knew one thing. Humanity had to be better than their circumstance. They had to prove that their spirit, not their technology, would define them. The war with the aliens escalated. The odds seemed insurmountable as they faced new, more powerful enemies, alien fleets that moved like shadows, invulnerable and overwhelming. But humanity did what it always did in the face of impossible odds. They adapted. Engineers re-engineered alien technology to their advantage. Scientists deciphered old myths and transformed them into weapons. In every corner of Earth, humanity was fighting back, no matter the cost. But each victory came with a price. Their homes, their cities, their loved ones, all of it was sacrificed in the name of survival. Lena watched as Tobias prepared to launch a mission that could turn the tide of the war. But it required a sacrifice. One of their best soldiers, Elena, had volunteered to go on a one-way mission to infiltrate the enemy's base. You don't have to do this, Lena told Elena, her voice strained. I do, Elena replied, her eyes unwavering. For the future, for Earth, the sacrifice was immense, but it was necessary. It was a decision made not out of selfishness, but for the greater good. Humanity had learned that survival required the ultimate. We fight not because we have to, but because we must. Together, we are unstoppable. With every strike from the aliens, humanity had fewer resources. Yet the ingenuity of Earth's people never faltered. The planet was on the brink of collapse, but in the darkest moments, they found new ways to survive. A forgotten artifact, a barely functioning machine, and made sacrifice, a call for unity. Through the darkest hours of the war, Lena called on humanity to come together. Their differences didn't matter. It was their unity that would allow them to prevail. As the battle raged on, the idea of working together for a common cause became the beacon of their strength. We are humanity, Lena said in a broadcast to the world. Human ingenuity combined to create miracles. Facing fear, Lena watched as her team prepared for the final assault. Fear hung heavy in the air, but it was not a fear of failure. It was a fear of losing everything they had fought for. The uncertainty of the future loomed, but it was overshadowed by their determination. They would face it, whatever came. The price of survival. The battle had taken its toll. Lena's body ached, and her mind was clouded with the weight of their choice. The cost of survival had been high, but humanity had endured. As the final battle loomed, humanity faced its most difficult decision. Would they sacrifice their morals and use the alien technology to annihilate their enemies completely? Or would they stay true to their ideal? Lena's heart wavered as she looked into the faces of her team, each one burdened by the same dilemma. Even in the face of such moral uncertainty, hope burned bright. The darkest moments were met with acts of heroism, small sparks of light in the overwhelming darkness. Hope, Lena realized, was the ultimate weapon humanity had, and it was one that no alien force could ever truly destroy. With the aliens defeated, humanity stood on the threshold of a new era. Their victory was not just about survival, it was about the future. The stars beckoned, and humanity would answer that call, eager to explore the unknown. As Lena looked to the stars, she knew that the greatest adventure had only just begun. The universe was vast, mysterious and dangerous, but humanity had proven its strength. The future was filled with limitless possibilities and unknown threats. Humanity's legacy was one of resilience. Their survival was a testament to the power of unity, sacrifice, and the unbreakable will to rise up. They had proven themselves worthy of the stars, and now they would claim their place among them. The Earth, year 20, a planet scarred by the weight of its past. The skies, once thick with smog, are now only faintly stained by the remnants of humanity's forgotten oceans, once polluted beyond recognition, are slowly healing, yet the scars remain. The Earth has weathered decades of environmental collapse, and now, for the first time in centuries, it seems to hold its breath. Humanity's ingenuity, their drive to survive, has ignited a glimmer of hope. But beneath the surface, the shadows of their past are never far behind. Progress. We're building again, but there's still so much to fix. We never thought it would come to this, but now we have no choice. The Earth might not forgive us, but perhaps, just perhaps, we can learn to forgive ourselves. Captain Samara Diaz. However, progress is not without its struggles. Beneath the rebuilding of ecosystems, humanity is fractured. Political factions bicker over resources, ideologies clash, and an unsettling question looms. Has humanity truly learned from its mistakes? The wars of the past have faded, but the internal battles of identity and direction are far from over. Yet, as Earth rebuilds, humanity's gaze stretches far beyond the atmosphere, the stars, the promise of a future in the cosmos. Earth's ambitions know no bounds. With the scars of their past still fresh, they've begun to venture into the unknown, determined to carve out a place among the stars. Transition. Despite the ravages of their past, Earth has become a fledgling player in the galactic theater, a species of survivors, innovators, and explorers. But the question remains, will their thirst for expansion lead to salvation or doom? Enter Captain Samara Diaz, veteran of countless campaigns, strategist and leader. On the outside, a hardened figure, a commander shaped by the trials of war and survival. But beneath the tactical brilliance, a doubt gnaws at her. Is humanity ready for what lies beyond? Captain Samara Diaz. We push forward, we explore the unknown, but we do so blindly. We haven't even learned to fix the mess we made back home, and yet we're supposed to conquer the stars. She's spent her career navigating the battlefield of political unrest, but space, the vast expanse of the galaxy, terrifies her. The same technology that saved Earth could spell its end in the hands of the unprepared. Samara doubts whether humanity's reckless drive for expansion can overcome the deadly unknowns of the universe. Her hand trembles slightly as she looks at the map of the star systems on the screen before her. No matter how far she's come, the thought of exploring alien worlds feels like a leap into darkness. The Galactic Exploration Fleet stumbles upon a discovery that will shape the course of human history. A mysterious star system, surrounded by an ominous silence, uncharted, unknown. The system is home to a planet, a death world, so hostile that survival is a feat only the most evolved beings could hope to achieve. Captain Samara Diaz. This system, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. We have no idea what awaits us on that planet, but we have to know. A world where the very environment is a weapon, where nature has evolved its inhabitants to be predators, and life itself has learned to fight, adapt, and destroy. Samara and her crew are entering uncharted waters on a ship that may be ill-prepared for what lies beyond. Are we really prepared to face this? We've dealt with war, starvation, the collapse of our planet, but this is different. Lieutenant Raj Patel says, his voice barely a whisper. Captain Samara Diaz. Humanity survives because we adapt. We've survived worse. We will survive this too. We have no choice. Amid the dangers of the death world, an unexpected discovery, an ancient artifact, seemingly abandoned by whatever species once inhabited this place. It promises answers. It holds the keys to understanding the very world they are about to face. But does it offer salvation or doom? What is this? It doesn't belong here. Not in a place like this. Dr. Elena Morrow, the ship's lead archaeologist, murmurs as she examines the artifact. Captain Samara Diaz. It could be a map, a message, or it could be a trap. We don't know what we're dealing with. As the crew examines the artifact, doubt and distrust begin to surface. Some see it as humanity's ticket to survival, while others, more cautious, more fearful, believe it may have been left behind for a reason. A trap, designed to lure the foolish. As Samara's ship enters the orbit of the death world, the atmosphere is thick with tension. The crew's nerves are on edge as they prepare to land.
but the planet below is more terrifying than anything they've faced before. A world of predators, evolved beings of unimaginable ferocity. Can we even land there safely? I've read the reports and nothing we have on board will keep us safe from what's down there, Engineer Jax Wiley says, anxiety creeping into his voice. Captain Samara Diaz, we have to try. There are answers down there. Answers that could change everything for humanity. We're not turning back now. As the ship descends closer, the crew watches in silent awe as massive creatures, some of them capable of causing earthquakes with a single step, move across the planet's surface. The creatures' eyes glow with hunger, scanning the skies for prey. We're not ready for this. None of us are, Navigator Cara Lee says, her voice barely audible. Captain Samara Diaz, we don't have the luxury of turning back. We came here for a reason. As the crew prepares for their descent, the tension reaches its peak. They know the risks, they've seen the horrors, they've felt the fear, but still, they move forward. Samara stands before her crew, a symbol of resolve in the face of the unknown. Captain Samara Diaz, this is it. Whatever happens, we do it together. No one gets left behind. The final countdown begins. The crew steels themselves, knowing they are about to face the unimaginable. They are on the edge of discovery, but they are also on the edge of destruction. Samara looks out at the planet below, knowing that what happens next will define not only the future of their mission, but the future of humanity. The ship's engines roared as Samara Diaz and her crew descended toward the surface of the Death World. The planet's atmosphere churned in violent gusts, dark clouds swirling like hungry predators. Through the viewport, the jagged peaks of mountains rose and fell, casting ominous shadows on the unforgiving terrain below. The crew's hearts raced, the anticipation of what lay ahead thickening the air. Prepare for impact. Samara's voice broke the tension, steady but heavy with uncertainty. Their landing was anything but smooth. The shuttle skidded against the planet's atmosphere, and violent turbulence shook the craft, as if the planet itself was rejecting. With a thud, they hit the surface, and the ground trembled beneath them. The crew hesitated, their eyes scanning the hostile environment. The air was dense, suffocating, and filled with a strange metallic scent. The dense vegetation around them seemed to ripple unnaturally, as if alive with malevolent intent. Every rustle felt like a threat, every shadow a predator waiting to strike. I don't like this, it's too quiet, whispered Lieutenant Juno, her hand hovering over her weapon. Unseen eyes watched them from the cliffs above, hidden but ever present. Samara felt the hair on the back of her neck rise as an eerie silence took hold. They were not alone, but something far more dangerous was watching them, waiting. Without warning, the ground trembled violently. A monstrous roar echoed through the valley, and in a flash, massive agile shapes lunged from the shadows. Vorax, massive alien predators, tore through the underbrush with terrifying speed. Their eyes glowed with an intelligence far beyond mere animals, and their claws glistened with deadly precision. Get back to the ship. Move, Samara shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. The Vorax struck with horrifying efficiency, ripping through the crew's defense. Samara's crew was thrown into disarray. The air was thick with the smell of blood and fear, as the Vorax methodically picked off members, each strike a swift and brutal lesson in the creature's overwhelming strength. A crew member, Lieutenant Jacobs, was the first to fall, his scream swallowed by the roar of the predators. The team fought back, firing their weapons, but the Vorax were too quick, their movements impossible to predict. The creatures moved as one, coordinated, lethal, unstoppable. Retreat to the shelter, Samara shouted, the orders barely piercing the cacophony of violence. With every step back, Samara's team discovered something vital. Humanity, no matter its advanced technology, was still vulnerable in the face of nature's primal fury. But Samara was determined. They were here for more than just survival. They were here to prove humanity's resilience. In the chaos, Samara's team discovered that the Vorax were not mindless beasts, but sentient beings, their intelligence terrifyingly refined. As they hid in a temporary shelter, Samara's eyes flicked over to a piece of alien technology, embedded in the dirt, one of the Vorax artifacts. It was crude in appearance, but showed a complex understanding of materials and warfare. We're dealing with more than just animals, Samara murmured to herself, the implications weighing heavily on her. As they ventured deeper into the Vorax territory, they uncovered more evidence of the creature's civilization. Primitive, but shockingly effective. Their technology was embedded into every aspect of the land, rigged to control the terrain, defend their nests, and wage war with terrifying efficiency. They think we're invaders. Their world is everything to them, Samara said, voice tinged with an unsettling realization. We're not just trespassers. We're a threat. The Vorax viewed humanity's expansion as a plague. Their entire existence had been defined by survival and dominance. And now they saw humanity as the next challenge. The Vorax aggression was born from fear, a deep-seated fear that the fragile piece of their deadly world would be shattered by human hands. A new layer of complexity was added to the conflict. These creatures, monstrous and terrifying, were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting to protect everything they had built. And Samara realized that humanity's mission was not just to survive, but to understand the enemy, to find a way to coexist, or face the consequences. As if the Vorax weren't enough, the planet itself had its own way of fighting back. Samara and her team trekked across the Death World's surface, the ground beneath them constantly shifting, as if the planet was alive and angry. The sand, black and shifting, would swallow their boots, pulling them down with every step. The wind was a brutal force, cutting through their protective suits with the chill of 1,000 knives. The storms that had plagued their descent intensified, winds howling with the force of a tornado, pushing them to the ground. Thunder cracked like a battle drum, rattling their nerve. One of the crew, Sergeant Kali, collapsed as a massive dust storm erupted, choking him as the air grew thick with debris. The team struggled to help, but the storm was relentless. Samara stood tall against the wind, her eyes scanning the horizon. Keep moving. We have to reach the artifact site. It's the only chance we have. They pressed on, fighting against the elements, pushing themselves beyond their limits. With every step, it became clear. The Death World was not just a hostile environment. It was a weapon, designed to kill anything that dared enter its domain. But Samara's crew was human, and they would not give up, no matter how brutal the terrain, no matter how terrifying the creatures that lurked in the shadows. They would adapt, because that's what humanity did. In the aftermath of another harrowing attack by the Vorax, Samara found herself questioning the nature of their enemy. The Vorax were not simply mindless killers. They had a reason for everything they did. Their culture was built on survival, yes, but also on fear, an ingrained belief that they had to dominate, or be destroyed by others like them. They see us as invaders, just as we once saw ourselves on this very planet, Samara reflected, trying to understand the fear driving the Vorax. Her crew, exhausted and on edge, began to unravel. The constant threat of death weighed heavily on their minds, and the psychological warfare employed by the Vorax, psychological tactics designed to break their will, began to take its toll. Fear, paranoia, fractured trust. How do we fight that? Lieutenant Juno asked, her voice barely a whisper. How do we fight something that knows our weaknesses? Samara's eyes hardened, the weight of leadership pressing down on her. The Death World wasn't just a battleground. It was a mirror, and in that mirror humanity had to ask itself, were they truly the invaders, or were they something else? Something far more dangerous. The Vorax struck again. This time they captured Private Reyes, dragging him into the heart of their territory. Samara's heart sank. This was no longer just a mission of exploration. This was about their people. This was personal. We're not leaving without him, Samara declared, her voice steely with resolve. The crew rallied behind her, the fire of humanity's resilience burning brighter than ever. Together they planned a daring rescue, using their advanced technology and their wits to infiltrate the Vorax stronghold. Every step was fraught with danger, every decision a potential death sentence. As the team navigated the alien landscape, they finally reached the Vorax lair, a grotesque structure of stone and metal, teeming with the savage creatures. In the midst of the chaos, Samara found Reyes, battered but alive, clinging to hope.
"We're getting out of here," Samara said, pulling him up. And in that moment, their bond was forged in fire. It wasn't just about survival. It was about proving that humanity would fight, no matter the odds. With Reyes back, Samara's team found a brief respite. But the tension was far from over. The calm, though necessary, was suffocating. The Vorax were waiting, the death world itself watching, and Samara knew the worst was yet to come. "We need to be ready for what's next," Samara said, her voice cold with determination. "They won't stop. Not until they've wiped us out." The crew, battered and broken, prepared for the inevitable next assault. Their minds were frayed, their bodies on the edge of collapse. But in their hearts, they knew what they were fighting for: each other, and the future of humanity. As they prepared for the final confrontation, Samara understood one truth: humanity would not go down without a fight, no matter the cost. Lieutenant Riven's disillusionment with humanity is a slow burn, a creeping poison that spreads through his thoughts in silence. Once a trusted member of Samara's crew, Riven has begun questioning humanity's place in the galaxy. He watches as the team struggles, their ambition blinding them to the dangers around them. The Vorax, these brutal predators, are not just a physical threat. They represent everything Riven fears, a reflection of humanity's own aggression. He begins to secretly sympathize with the Vorax, believing their brutal survival instincts are a necessary lesson for humanity's unchecked expansion. Riven's betrayal is subtle at first: a misplaced communication, a suspicious delay in relaying key data. Samara notices the cracks, the tension in his demeanor, but she cannot fathom the depth of his treason. It's only when he offers information to the Vorax, promising them insight into the crew's movements in exchange for their knowledge, that the full weight of his betrayal hit. The crew is shattered. The trust that held them together is broken, replaced by a gnawing fear. "I've seen it," Riven says, his voice low and firm. "Humanity is doomed to destroy itself. The Vorax, they understand. They fight to survive. We're the invaders, not them." The team is divided. Questions of loyalty, trust, and survival now plague every decision Samara makes. Can she truly lead a crew when their faith in each other has been fractured so deeply? The first attack comes without warning. The Vorax, armed with the knowledge Riven shared, launch a strike that shatters any illusions of safety. Samara's crew fights back with everything they have, but the Vorax are relentless. They move like shadows, their tactics precise and brutal, each move calculated to break the crew's spirit before they even land a blow. "They know us," Samara mutters, her eyes scanning the horizon, her heart pounding. "Every move we make, they're a step ahead." The team encounters horrors that defy description. Beasts with razor-sharp claws, massive creatures that seem more like nightmares than living creatures. The crew's weapons are ineffective against them, their technology outmatched by the beast's sheer power. The fear is palpable, suffocating the team as they fight to survive. "We can't fight this, not like this," says one of the crew, panic creeping into their voice. Samara silences the room with a raised hand, her gaze fierce and determined. "We adapt, or we die." As the Vorax escalate their attacks, using traps and ambushes that exploit the crew's weaknesses, Samara begins to realize that she cannot fight this war alone. She must think like her enemies, become as ruthless, as calculating as they are. Samara's leadership is pushed to the brink. Decisions she once made with confidence are now clouded with doubt. With every loss, her resolve hardens, but the strain is evident. She can feel the team slipping away. The burden of command is heavier with every step. Amid the chaos, Samara begins to question everything. The Vorax are not the mindless beasts she initially believed. They are survivors, a civilization born of necessity, not conquest. She starts to wonder, has humanity in its rush to conquer the stars made the same mistakes? Is humanity truly ready for intergalactic expansion? In private, Samara confronts these dark thoughts. The Vorax, while brutal, have a depth to their culture that humans may never fully understand. Their society is built on survival, and in their eyes, humanity is the real threat. She wonders if humanity, with its insatiable thirst for power, is truly prepared to coexist with more advanced beings. The question eats at her. Is it right to expand into the galaxy, to claim what others have built for themselves? The Vorax's survival is no less valid than humanity's, and Samara's growing fear is that this conflict is only a taste of what is to come. If humanity doesn't change, it could doom itself. "We are no different from them," she whispers to herself. "We're fighting for survival just like they are. The weight of leadership crushes Samara's spirit. Every decision feels like it could be her last. She fights her growing fear of failure, the fear that she will lead her team into oblivion. Her mind races, her heart pounds, and every time a crew member falls, a part of her breaks. "I'm not strong enough for this," she admits in the silence of her quarters, staring at the stars outside the window. "I can't protect them, not all of them." Her desire to protect her crew intensifies, but it comes with a harsh realization. Sometimes, sacrifice is necessary. She begins to wonder if she is too attached to her team, too focused on keeping them safe. The hard truth is that some will not make it. In the quiet moments, she allows herself to feel the weight of that truth. "I'm doing everything I can," she says aloud. But even her voice betrays the uncertainty that gnaws at her. But will it be enough? This internal battle shapes her growth. Her leadership is no longer just about strategies and tactics. It's about understanding the emotional needs of her crew. As she begins to open up, to truly listen to them, she learns that leadership isn't just about command. It's about empathy. The crew is running on fuel. Every piece of technology they use is pushed beyond its limits. The Vorax advanced weaponry and traps make it clear that human technology is primitive in comparison. But Samara's team is nothing if not resourceful. They repurpose every piece of equipment, create new weapons from scavenged parts, and build traps of their own. "We have to outsmart them," Samara insists, her mind whirring as she works with the crew to devise their next move. "We can't fight them head-on, but we can think like they do." However, there's a price for this innovation. The equipment malfunctions more frequently, and the tactics they try are often flawed. Every mistake is costly. The crew is learning the hard way that technology is not always a reliable savior. "This is getting dangerous," one of the engineers warns as a new weapon backfires, causing a minor explosion. Samara can only nod. "We don't have a choice," she says grimly. Humanity's true edge is not in their technology, but in their ability to adapt, to keep moving forward even when the odds seem insurmountable. The rift caused by Riven's betrayal festers, dividing the crew. Some members are haunted by his arguments, questioning whether humanity deserves to expand, while others remain fiercely loyal to Samara and the cause. The fractures are widening, and Samara can feel the tension in every interaction. I can't believe he did it," one of the crew members says, voice trembling with disbelief. "We trusted him." Samara, her mind heavy with the consequences, tries to hold the crew together. But it's clear that Riven's defection has shattered more than just trust. It's torn apart their unity. She begins to question if she failed her team by not seeing the signs sooner. "What did I miss?" she whispers to herself in the dead of night. "How could I have prevented this?" As the crew grapples with their divided loyalties, Samara's own beliefs are tested. She wonders if Riven was right, if humanity's ambitions will ultimately lead to destruction. But even as doubt creeps in, she refuses to give up on her crew. They're still human, and they still have the strength to fight. Samara stands at the helm, the weight of leadership pressing down on her. Her decisions, her ability to guide her team, will determine their survival. As the crew faces more attacks, more betrayals, more doubts, Samara begins to realize that leadership is not about making the right calls all the time. It's about being there for her people when they need her most. "We're not out of this yet," she says, her voice steady but filled with the scars of battle. "But we will survive, together." Samara has come a long way. From a leader who trusted only in logic and strategy, she is now someone who understands the power of connection, of empathy. The crew may be divided, but Samara knows that she must pull them back together, if they have any hope of overcoming the Vorax. The journey is far from over, but in this moment Samara understands one thing. The true strength of humanity lies in its ability to rise, to adapt and to push forward, no matter the odds. In the dark recesses of the Vorak Command Center, Samara and her team discover something unimaginable. The sterile hum of the alien ship fills the air as they stand before a massive hologram. Their eyes widen in horror. A weapon, no, a force of nature is projected before them. It is capable of annihilating entire planets. A star-crushing weapon designed to destroy life on a cosmic scale. "This could end everything," mutters Loud Vance, his voice barely a whisper. Samara stares at the projection, her mind racing. Humanity had always feared the unknown, but this was beyond anything she could have prepared for. A weapon capable of erasing entire world. The weight of their situation presses down on her chest, suffocating her hope.
The Voraks are not here to defend themselves. They are here to dominate. Samara's crew watches as a Vorak general steps forward, his cold eyes glinting with purpose. This is not a tool for survival. It is our final answer to those who threaten our existence, he declares, his voice resonating with chilling finality. Samara realizes with a sinking feeling, the Voraks view humanity as nothing more than a threat to be eliminated. Samara clenches her fists, steeling herself for the reality ahead. The weapon is activated before her eyes, and for a moment she feels the vastness of space tremble under its power. One blast, one flicker of energy, and everything gone. The stakes have never been higher. The room is silent, the air thick with tension. Samara stands before the weapon's control panel, her hands hovering over the buttons. Her team watches in anticipation, but they are divided. Half of them want to use the weapon to destroy the Voraks and ensure humanity's survival. The other half, including Samara, knows that such a path would forever alter the course of humanity's future. A moment of reckoning. Samara's heart races. She imagines the glory, the security, a single shot, and they could wipe the Voraks out of existence. But the cost would be immeasurable. We'd be no different than they are, Samara mutters to herself, the weight of the decision settling in her bones. Her mind flashes back to the ideals she once held dear, the unity of humanity, the values of peace and cooperation. Could she really betray that for immediate safety? Her eyes flash with realization. This is not the way. If humanity's future is to be written among the stars, it cannot be through force. Samara knows that victory gained through destruction is empty. The crew watches her, waiting for her to act, her leadership and choices now defining the path ahead. I won't use it, Samara says, her voice a firm declaration. There has to be another way. Her decision hangs in the air like a taut wire. The battle is not over, but the war for humanity's soul has only just begun. The silence that follows Samara's decision is deafening. The crew is not ready to accept her choice, but Samara's resolve is unwavering. She has chosen the path of cooperation, the difficult, uncertain road that will demand everything from them. She starts to formulate a new plan, a strategy to save humanity from the brink of destruction. Why not just end it now? Why gamble with everything? Vance demands, his frustration boiling over. Samara understands his fear, his desire for closure, but she cannot allow herself to be consumed by it. We cannot build a future on the ruins of the past, she replies. Her words are firm, cutting through the doubt. Samara's strategy evolves, no longer a path of direct confrontation, but a plea for negotiation. She proposes a daring approach. Rather than obliterate the Voraks, she will seek a peaceful resolution. She believes that humanity's strength lies not in firepower, but in its ability to adapt, to connect and to change. This will not be a war won by weapons, but by understanding. Prepare yourselves, Samara tells her crew, a fire in her eyes. This will test us all, but it's the only way forward. The crew looks at each other, unsure but committed. Their future now hinges on a delicate balance between diplomacy and survival. The plan is in motion, but it's not long before the treachery within the crew is revealed. Riven, once Samara's closest confidant, now stands at the forefront of the Vorak forces. His betrayal runs deep. The mission is in jeopardy, and Samara realizes that her former friend is no longer the man she once trusted. Riven's voice comes through the communication channel, cold and calculated. You've made the wrong choice, Samara. Humanity is not worthy. I will ensure your failure. Samara's heart sinks as she understands the depth of his conviction. He believes that humanity's thirst for power makes them unworthy of the galaxy's trust. To him, the Vorak's way is the only path. Riven's sabotage sends the crew into disarray. His knowledge of their tactics, their weaknesses, becomes a weapon against them. But Samara refuses to buckle under the weight of his betrayal. We can still turn this around, she declares, her voice resolute. She rallies her crew, using Riven's own strategies to counter his treachery. A battle of wits unfolds, and Samara's tactical brilliance shines through. They outsmart Riven, turning his betrayal into a weapon of their own. The Vorak's forces are caught off guard, and for a moment, Samara allows herself a fleeting sense of victory. But the cost of trust lost lingers in her heart. The moment has arrived. The Vorak weapon sits before them, its power ready to be unleashed. Samara faces the ultimate choice once again, to use it and ensure her crew's survival, or to destroy it, solidifying humanity's commitment to a different future. Her crew watches in breathless anticipation. Samara stands before the weapon, her mind racing. This is it. The fate of humanity rests on this decision. She knows what the easy choice is, the choice that guarantees survival. But survival at what cost? She thinks of the lives they've lost, the trust that's been shattered, and the future they've yet to build. Humanity will not fall prey to the easy path, Samara says, her voice steady, unwavering. She presses the button to destroy the weapon, rejecting the temptation of ultimate power. In that moment, she chooses humanity's true strength, not in weapons or destruction, but in unity and resilience. As the weapon disintegrates in a flash of light, the crew breathes a collective sigh of relief. Samara stands tall, her face set with determination. The fight is far from over, but humanity has made its choice. A new path lies ahead, one that will demand everything, but also promise the hope of a brighter future. The immediate danger is over, but the aftermath lingers. Samara and her crew stand on the precipice of a new era, their futures uncertain but filled with possibility. They have chosen the hard path, the path of cooperation, understanding and survival through unity. Samara reflects on the weight of her leadership. I chose humanity's future over its destruction, she muses, but the cost was high. The crew members who once doubted her now understand the importance of her decision. Together, they have shaped a new destiny, one not born of conquest, but of hope. We'll rebuild, Samara says, looking toward the stars, not with weapons, but with trust. The crew follows her gaze, the future uncertain but filled with potential. Humanity's place in the galaxy has been secured, not through violence, but through resilience. They have earned their future, and together, they will face whatever comes next. Samara stands on the bridge of the eclipse, her eyes fixed on the holographic map. Marks a turning point in their relationship. Samara, they never expected us to survive, never thought we could adapt, could fight back, and yet here we are. A ceasefire, not out of mercy but out of respect. Samara turns to her crew, each one weary and battle-worn but alive. The crew's survival was not due to the power of their weapons, but through their resilience. They had proven their strength, not in their ability to destroy but in their ability to endure. Lieutenant Marlowe, they've seen what we're capable of. That's why they've pulled back. They want to play the long game. Samara, then we'll play it too. We're not just survivors, we're diplomats now. The crew gathers, their faces etched with the weight of what has just occurred. The death world, the battle, the near losses, all have transformed them. They've earned the Vorak's respect, not through force, but through sheer human willpower. It is a new dawn for humanity's place in the star. The galaxy, her minds still reeling from the harrowing battle they had just endured. The Voraks, once relentless in their pursuit of domination, have sent a transmission, signaling a ceasefire. It is not a victory in the traditional sense. There are no grand celebrations, but Samara stands by the viewport, staring out into the void. The death world they'd just escaped had tested them beyond measure. It was a place where even the most seasoned soldiers had no place. A world that was hostile in every possible way. But they survived. Samara, we didn't just survive, we adapted. We learned. The brutality of the death world had forever changed. Samara and her team, where they once saw themselves as conquerors, they now saw themselves as something greater, an integral part of the galactic community. Their survival wasn't a mere accident. It was proof of human adaptability. Commander Ray, we didn't conquer it, Samara, but we earned something more valuable, understanding, and in that we found strength. Samara, understanding, and a future we didn't expect. We've earned more than just the right to survive. We've earned a place in this galaxy. The challenges they had faced were unimaginable, but it was not violence or weapons that had won the day. It was humanity's resilience. The Voraks had learned that the humans they once dismissed were far more complex than they had thought. A new chapter was unfolding, and humanity's place in the stars was no longer just a dream. Inside the briefing room, the crew is gathered. The betrayal by Lieutenant Riven still stings deeply, but Samara knows they must move beyond it. Unity is the only way forward. Samara, I know the damage Riven caused, but we're still a crew. We have to rebuild what he tore apart. Trust isn't a gift. It's something we earn, and we'll earn it together. There is a quiet murmur of agreement, among the crew. The bond of shared survival has begun to heal the rift left by Riven's actions. Samara's leadership has not been about wielding authority, but about guiding them through the darkest of time. She shows them that true strength lies in supporting one another. Lieutenant Marlowe, we all doubted you once, Samara, but we're with you now, together. Samara looks around the room, seeing not just a team, but a family that had been through hell and come out the other side stronger. She knows the road ahead won't be easy, but at least they're no longer divided. They've found something greater than victory. They've found unity. The ceasefire with the Borax is not a victory in the traditional sense. It is a new beginning. The galaxy stretches out before them, and Samara knows this is just the first step in humanity's journey. Samara, the battle was never just about survival. It was about proving we could adapt, that we can work with others, not against them. This is just the Samara and her team sit in the command center, looking over diplomatic channels with other species. The war may be over, but the true challenge lies ahead, building alliances and navigating the complexities of a galaxy filled with unknown. Commander Ray, we've shown the Borax we're not just another aggressive species. Now we show the galaxy that we can build, we can collaborate. Samara, and we'll build something better, not just for us, but for everyone. The future is uncertain, but Samara sees hope that humanity can rise above its past mistakes, that they can forge alliances, and prove that unity, not domination, is the key to their survival. The Death World may have been their crucible, but it was in that fire that humanity had found its true potential. The stars were no longer a distant dream. They were within reach, ready to be explored, ready to be understood, and Samara knew that humanity's place in the galaxy would not be defined by conquest, but by cooperation. The stars shine brightly outside the viewport of the eclipse, a symbol of humanity's journey from a species driven by conquest to one seeking understanding. Earth's leadership has made a monumental decision. Humanity's future will no longer be defined by war or domination. Instead, they will become ambassadors, explorers, and allies in the vast expanse of space. It is a new chapter, one where humanity steps away from the shadows of war and towards the light of diplomacy. The time for conquest is over. Now we seek to understand, to learn and to collaborate. Samara stands before the council, her expression steady but resolute. She has been chosen to lead the new initiative, a program focused on peaceful exploration and intergalactic diplomacy. The weight of the responsibility does not escape her, but she has already proven humanity's resilience. Now she will show them the true power of cooperation. Samara, we are no longer conquerors. We are something greater. We are the emissaries of Earth, reaching out to the stars with open hand. As Samara's words echo through the chamber, her crew stands behind her, a unified force, ready to forge alliances with the unknown. The shift from war to peace is monumental, but with it comes a glimmer of hope for humanity's future. In this moment, the future of humanity is no longer a force of destruction, but a beacon of hope in the dark expanse of the galaxy. Samara stands alone on the observation deck of the eclipse, gazing out at the endless stars. The weight of her thoughts presses on her shoulder. The journey that brought her here, victories, losses, and sacrifices, has been a painful one. The crew is alive, yes, but at what cost? The scars of their survival will remain etched into their hearts forever. The stars have witnessed the fall of countless civilizations, and for humanity the price of survival was steep. But here they are, standing on the precipice of a new dawn, their hands stained with the blood of their enemies, their hearts burdened with the loss of those they love. Samara's mind drifts to the faces of her fallen comrades, and the lingering betrayal of Lieutenant Riven. She carries the weight of their sacrifices, but also the knowledge that they did not die in vain. Their survival was not an accident. It was a testament to humanity's unyielding. Samara, we made it, but not without losing parts of ourselves along the way. The past is never far behind, and yet in the shared strength of those who remain, Samara finds solace. They are not just survivors, they are family. Samara turns from the stars, the burden of leadership settling heavily upon her. But as she looks at her crew, her family, she knows they are ready. Together they will navigate this new era. The eclipse drifts silently through the stars, its mission clear: explore, understand, and connect. The galaxy stretches out before them, a vast sea of possibilities. Yet even as Samara looks ahead, She knows this is only the beginning. The future is vast, and with it comes endless opportunities. Humanity's journey toward peaceful exploration but the road ahead is not without its challenges. Unseen threats lurk in the shadows, and the true scope of the galaxy's politics remains unknown. While the Vorax have shown respect, the galaxy is not as simple as it seems. New species, new alliances, and new dangers await. Samara and her team will face choices that will define the fate of not only Earth, but of every life in the galaxy. Commander Rael, we've gained the respect of the Vorax, but there's more out there, a galaxy full of unknowns. Samara, then we'll face them. Together, the galaxy is vast, and humanity's place within it is still unfolding. As the Eclipse ventures further into the unknown, Samara and her crew step into a future brimming with uncertainty, adventure and the promise of discovery. The stakes are higher than ever. Samara looks out at the stars once more, the weight of their mission ahead of her, but there is a fire in her heart, a promise to explore, to connect and to protect the future of humanity. Samara, this is just the beginning. Humanity's journey is not one of conquest, but of discovery. In the darkness of the unknown, they will find their place, and in doing so, they will change the galaxy forever. The Eclipse continues its voyage, the stars stretching out before them, a boundless canvas waiting to be explored. The future is unknown, but humanity is ready for whatever it may bring.